Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today, na Friday, number 11 day for this month of October 2024. My name na Capo Daniel. I've been the chairman of the People's Right Advocative Platform. Today, ladies and gentlemen, the executive of PRAP, we want to update our people them as we done promise about our recent participation for the United Nations 78th session where it take place for inside New York. We'll get a team where it will be led and facilitated by the international partners where we then succeed for secure their support for Ambazonia. They then give we unprecedented access to the United Nations and I then come back for give una our report. This one a part of our push for a negotiated settlement for help end this war and secure the aspiration of our people for an independent state of Ambazonia in the future with the strategy we would put them in place. So I can give you a detailed report. Dr. Gabila, that big man for South Africa, when a vice chair for PRAP, he then also put out a public message in response to Chris Anu, Fontem Niba, Mark Chaps, and the group where they call their organization, say, consultative platform, where they then put out a public message when a Chris Anu put them out. He then sent an address for them. I will also play them. Please take your time, listen to this podcast to the end. It be very, very important. Wouldn't be dragged for public court for concerning diplomacy and where it be very sensitive. A lot of violation of diplomatic ethics that happen. So it be important, not just for knowledge, for listen to this podcast, but also for be informative about which way it happen. Because what we do may be very, very consequential on our struggle and the future of our people. So now listen very carefully. But I will start for give an update for the United Nations. We will then go for go present the principles behind the Peace Plan Paper, PPP. We then get unprecedented access. So I will give you the report before I go play the audio message from the Vice Chair of PRAP. So for remember all man, the roadmap for PRAP now say we want to get international endorsement and support for a specific plan for Ambazonia, an alternative way for fight for our freedom other than fighting for ground with weapons them. We want to get international endorsement for a plan. This plan would then come up with the call on a peace plan paper where they offer an alternative means for solve this problem without fighting. We want to first get this international support, get them for state party, them for United Nations, get the United Nations its own support and for hand over this proposal for La Republique to Cameroon as a basis for negotiation of the future of Cameroon. So our plan it be at the peak for go for Geneva, where they come up for meeting for Geneva for United Nations. Would I already secure the invitation from the United Nations? So I could just run down for UNA, which would accomplish them so far for the UN General Assembly 78th session. We'll get a direct meeting with the Office of the Secretary General at 3 levels. One, now with the Assistant Secretary General for United Nations, where we get direct access. That means they not only submit a letter from us, we also participate in a meeting for talk for you personally via Zoom, even though we get just a 2-minute chance for talk for them. At least it reinforce our voice as they do the presentation for day for we. We also go high for day for the Secretary General, the Under Secretary General for the United Nations. We will also submit for ye and get a conversation with ye with our third party representation. We also get a direct meeting with the Secretary General. The office accept for get that meeting with our representative them for discuss the principles for which would you want approach for make the offer for the PPP. It will be very, very happy for the meeting. I think I follow up meeting for several meetings the way that I engage it directly. It will be very knowledgeable of way to do the principle. Then we mean say that I already digest some. Be just until we did hear and I say the one for here. remind una say would they go at a war day for the Middle East, impending war way, even if it turn into third world war they go. So the world it be very busy, but yet we'll get success for get this very high level audience for present our matter. So now a very, very big seriousness with the world and take our struggle. We'll also meet 10 country them for inside UN, no be just low level member the will meet up. That means say some country then the way they get other staff the way they be low level. If they want to talk with you, they feel send some small people they meet and talk. But we'll meet up now direct ambassador them where they represent this country. So we'll meet up now government them for these 10 country them for talk with them. Without giving a specific, but we'll meet up country them for Africa, then we meet up country them for Caribbean, we meet up country them for Middle East, we meet up European country them and North American country them. And those country them for the Caribbean, they don't offer for help. We also for get our team them, meet them be trained or get some level of understanding about devolution, and also then be willing for support in the future. Say this peace plan, they agree for support for ground zero, for help for build infrastructure, for help for provide services and other things them. They want a part of our incentive package for the carrots then we will show la Republic say if we accept this peace deal, it come with money and it come with international support. When I no go begin to spend money for do some things and way other countries that are already pledged they could be able for do them. So we also get other countries where they go help us about good practice and for governance and share their experience with us. So we then get invitation for them for discuss for this issue them. For African country them, majority of the every African country will meet up then talk say then they be very will be very sensitive about pobia feelings them about this struggle. So the all man they respect pobia a lot. Now the impression that will get them. But all of them that welcome our initiative and they don't actually offer for get engagement with us afterward. That means follow-up meeting that will happen again. Some of them also that offer for give us training and all those type of things. For the Middle East country, them the government them be willing for support. Majority of them they offer now money. That means say if this plan is to go into effect, their government they don't pledge to provide money for sponsor and for support the program. When I remember say the program it get the integration of our soldiers, get building of our fire brigade. They could fit supply with fire brigade machine them, uniform training, even provide money for salary them for some long time. So we then get big support for Middle Eastern countries them. Most importantly, one of the main person wey na be stand for talk on our behalf na person wey he be done be former big man for UND. No need for give their name for public, but we get a very big team. I think the one of the biggest access way Ambazonia it don't get time for talk about our aspiration for this highest level. We want for be very humble for let our people know say PRAP not just one organization out of many organizations there for Ambazonia. Every organization then get right to political organization and political association. We need a claim so they represent all man for Ambazonia, but we represent the vast majority of our people them where they don't express themselves for support the agenda and our vision. We engage with all community them, our communal approach, refugee, IDP, political prisoners, and everybody would engage with them for make sure say our representation it represent the best interest of our people, and we respect every other organization and individual their right for do the same. We need to claim for get exclusive power for represent our struggle, but we will represent the struggle to the best, to the degree to which we are influential. We want for acknowledge that one. So now I will left the microphone for play the audio message and reaction and message where the Vice Chair, Dr. Gabila, he done put them out. Make una listen and make una listen keenly from start to end. God bless una. Capo Daniel signing out.
Mommy and Papa, then wanna good morning. This one wanna picking Dr. G from South Africa, Vice Chair of the People's Right Advocacy Platform. This morning I want just come weigh in on this outing from Chris Anu and from Dr. Fontemi Group on the process where PRAP the initiator and the leader. And the main point where I want to make am na say empty chair diplomacy never ever work anywhere in the world of international diplomacy. When I figure out the goal, something about empty chair diplomacy. The second point I want to make, and we are really hope say Comrade Chris Anu and Dr. Fontem and Cheps and Pa Kwanga and all these people the way that they inside consultative forum, they go get a rethink. And the point we make now a point where it go in the direction of an imperfect process be a lot better than a no process. It go be really, 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 really unfortunate. Say make other people them meet up inside room for begin to discuss options them where if you bring me out of this crisis. Whereas while people really feel say they get a sound mind and a clear idea about how we need to move processes them forward them be out of the room for whatever consideration. Now, Comrade Chris Anona, a very noble gentleman in so many ways. He get weaknesses them. He get a very irritating aspects about the approach for this engagement, but now a voice nonetheless. And what you don't learn for the last 8 years in the various aspects and initiatives undertaken to carry out engagement to bring these solutions to this crisis. The one thing we don't learn is say international diplomacy they occur in seasons and windows of opportunity. We don't get about 2 or 3 openings then to the diplomatic community in the course of this almost 8 years of crisis. And at each of those openings then, our inability to fully explore and exploit the opening that they be presented. Now the reason why the conflict don't persist up to this point. First, Ambassador Ballerina, Taibi still there in the very early days of the conflict, where he put a lot of pressure on top of the BR regime, while on the last days of his tenure for inside Yaoundé. That one are the one instance where we don't get person where they talk on our behalf. We need to fit maximize and because we need to fit process and take advantage of those diplomatic overtures. Every diplomatic initiative where an external party undertake on our behalf, now a risk where they take them. Risk where they not get insurance, risk where if you go in any direction. And of course, we must understand, say, La République du Cameroon as a state party get a very robust diplomatic machinery. Ballerina was a wasted opportunity. And then we get a second window of opportunity where we get a chance for Milka. We get the ear for the Undersecretary for Africa in Thibault Nagy under the Trump presidency. Now, Chris Anu, Sako Ikome, Bo Herbert, are there even at Akwanga, Fontem, all these people that be there Washington during this season where we get that overture inside the Trump administration. Trump administration, we get one specific characteristics. Now, so we get for the first time an individual inside White House where a relationship with France maybe be cast on stone. An individual inside White House where in engagement with the rest of the Western fraternity be dialectic, it be flexible, it be open for persuasion. It be get the kind of flexibility where if you fulfill it will be succeed for articulate a position where the Trump administration will perceive them as in the best interest of the USA. We be get the ear of the Undersecretary for Africa where for put that position on the table. Now within that season, a number of times American and French relationship be strained. A number of times they will even push the bar, got to a point where we actually get the possibility to say what conversation be entertained in the corridors of the American administration. What did we do with it? The only thing will come from my mind now that one very irritating meeting where Thibault Nagy be did where Martin Ayim wake up ask some extremely silly question for Thibault Nagy, in the face of the international community, where we demonstrate a blatant ignorance of the functioning of international relationship between nations. The only one person will come close to milking that opportunity. Now, Dr. Judith Nwana put on the tears of a mother in the face of, with international cameras, the way it go viral, where it be the plead with Tibo Nagi for say, Abek, wanna do something about our situation. Me are talking about the way opportunities that they present themselves and how would they make use of those opportunities or they misuse those opportunities. All of Tibo Nagi presidency, Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation come up. Now, Mr. Atem, all the when I go back, go look Coalition of Dialogue and Negotiation, their website, check their board of directors, check the collection of, I won't call them, for lack of a better word, intellectual depth of the people, the way they assemble their reputation and put them back this organization. Now, in terms of diplomatic capital, as a people, we get that one, the assembly of one of the best possible collection of influential figures where Southern Cameroons, West Cameroon, be don't ever put together under one umbrella organization in different capacities, whether they be sitting inside working groups or they be sitting inside technical committees, or they be the head specific aspects, or they be actually being a part of the various dialogues they initially organize them, or they be writing papers, or they be studying specific sectors them, or they be driving meetings them. Or they're talking about Southern Cameroonians that have working experience in the World Bank, that have working experience in international organizations, in Confederation, Magi Kilo. We are talking about Southern Cameroonians that are top-level professors in U.S. universities. What's this other professor in Texas? We're talking about the cream of our intelligentsia as a people, assembled under one organization. Now, this one before talk say now people that get big degree than feel represent we. This one for talk say the people then way they get the ability for knock on doors, enter inside influential organization, then put one matter on the table. They be assembled under Coalition of Dialogue and Negotiation. They be get the ear of the U.S. Under Secretary of State for Africa. They get access to the White House. They get access to the Trump administration. Now, diplomatic opportunities that they present themselves, because diplomatic engagements and be dynamic, they're not be cast on stone. Once a window of opportunity open itself, the collection of factors, the way they favor that opportunity, they open up for a period of time. It therefore means that before opportunity presents itself, we need to don't get a certain degree of preparedness and readiness for take advantage of the opportunity. Because if opportunity presents itself, we will not be ready. The opportunity will come pass. How we treat Coalition of Dialogue and Negotiation? These very same people already hit against the PRAP process today. They're very simple. They wake up, call these people the all kind names, call them how they receive funding from the Republic, call them how they be agents, give them all kind names. And I talk about people the way they could, people who could quite frankly not give a shit what happens to this crisis. People the way they be sorted, their picking and be sorted, their grandpicking and be sorted by virtue of the choice they don't make it. Like people if you wake up today, so go drop the facts that they come up from Southern Cameroons, they go live the rest of their life, their picking they go reach the rest of their life, their grandpicking the rest of their lives, where they don't ever look back, place where they come out, and they go be fine. Those are the people that assembled that coalition of dialogue and negotiation for saying we could put our head for solve this thing. This same knobs call them. Sorry, I will call them noble people them in another instance, but for that particular instance, we will be behave like numbskulls, because we now run down these people, we now run down their processes, participate, let's say, that be interested, and then the same kind of strategy where Chris Anu don't apply them for this ongoing process where we PRAP the leader. Now, for show interest, gather information, and then go out at the end of the day, go come out with some very stormy outing for influence the perception of the general public about a process, which, from a diplomatic perspective, now a very poor demonstration of character. As in other words, it need cast so much of an aspersion on the people the way you did where you did blast them when you do that one. It tell international interlocutors more about the kind and the caliber of person where you be, and the kind of person you would like to do business with. Because a critical characteristic of every single diplomat is discretion. Especially diplomats in active service. For all that time, the way would engage Tibo Nagi, put microphone for your front, all the different kinds of questions we throw at we. Go study the mind behavior. Now, only after he leave office, we don't become a little more vocal and a little more blatant about a point of view. But as a diplomat in service, discretion now a hallmark of every diplomatic negotiator. My question to all these Southern Cameroonians, the way they listen to me and say, who's our diplomat then they? When I want to engage with the international community, who's the people that demonstrate the diplomatic capabilities? People that never keep secret, where their mouth never shut up. Where any single idea where it pass for their front must end up in a secular or an outing or a public show or a YouTube video or a channel. Which kind of childishness is this? When we will grow up, at what point do we think we feel so we will be able to assemble the kind of critical mass of leadership where they show the seriousness of engagement? So my message for all these people, them, where they inside consultative forum, them, Dr. Fontaine, Bo Herbert, I beg una grow up, massa. Una try grow up. Una learn for take things and put them close to una chest. An imperfect process be better than a no process. And there's nothing that any of you have done in the last 8 years that suggests to anybody that is observing from a distance that you know what you are doing. Or that if given an opportunity, you are going to undertake a process that drives an outcome that our people can look up to. With a default position for cry for unity, unity to accomplish what? Okay, yes, let's be united. And then after what? After that. So the rubbish, the coalition of dialogue and negotiation team, their process, knock them down completely to zero when they had no alternative. And I say they had no alternative because the point is, since the rubbish CDN carries today, what have they come up with? So the rubbish Canada, rubbish Swiss process, even the conference they don't hold them for Washington up to this point. For the last 8 years, the number of different organizations and where they don't step in for hold one conference or the other on our behalf. For the last 8 years, which she don't yield. Whenever she don't so look these circumstances and then learn from them, realize say the best way where you fit drive, where you fit shape a ship, the only way if you give both direction, now if it is on high seas. Dr. Fontaine, the only way the rudder of a ship is relevant is if it's in the high seas. That is how you give it direction, which is a figure of speech to help you to understand that the only process that you can improve and perfect is an ongoing process. It's not a non-process. So we waste that opportunity. Trump leave White House, Thibault Nagy leave Under Secretary of Africa. They replace him with a Catholic democratic president with perfect relationship with France and perfect alignment with Western diplomatic affiliations. Since Biden become president, for example, when I name me one significant diplomatic engagement of note where it don't happen. He's about to finish his first term, which is 4 years. I'm saying for the last 4 years, when I name me one significant thing where it don't happen, compared to the opportunities we had under the Trump presidency. Now, why am I giving all this history? I give all this history for remind we say we did at the door of another opportunity. And we'll be about for Trump away as we don't always be when it comes to issues like this. Canada, now a completely imperfect process. We'll be completely aware of the fact, say, the people they will deal with, they not be trustworthy. We'll be completely aware of the fact that the regime where they deal with be completely ruthless. We'll be completely conscious of the fact, say, these people are not going to give in an inch of anything we will demand without a fight. But it be absolutely imperative, say, make we roll out a process, we engage. Now, we sit with our best possible in diplomatic engagement where we don't get them in a very long time. It don't matter how, but for the very first time, we get partners them where we work hand in hand, where they get accreditation for UN, where they approach member states on the basis of the accreditation, put what issues them on the table. They didn't tell the full story. They didn't tell the complete story. They didn't tell the story when I want to make them tell them, but they tell the story. They are putting the issue on the table. And I want to make you think about them critically. That if somebody comes and says there is a problem down in that country that has a historical origin, has led to a series of conflicts, that has led to X number of refugees, X number of people have died, X number of prisoners that are still in prison. And that conflict is ongoing, and we think that it has to be solved, and we have a proposed solution. This is the solution. Now, we not disagree with the solution, because we feel say a different solution be better. But we not go disregard the fact say before that person present the solution, he don't talk about the problem. And say in the absence of that solution, that problem not go get access to the number of people that even she don't listen to it in the first place. When I put on a thinking cap, get a bit of sense. For understand, say, maybe a perfect in economics, maybe a perfect equilibrium kind of situation. Now, a suboptimal solution. The suboptimal solution they come with the fact, say, in the content of the engagement, 60% na the presentation of the problem, 40% na the presentation of the solution. When I jump upon the 60%, put the problem on the table. And list as actors, monitor the process, make an input. That's how diplomacy works. Diplomacy works on the principle of progressive gains. Little hanging fruits. Little hanging fruits. They talk for pineapple, say, if person they owe you 1 million, it take 100,000, can give you, say, na part of the money they owe you. No, deny the 100,000. Take the 100,000, keep it inside your back. They say, when the 900 go come. Now, so diplomacy, they work, Dr. Fontaine. You are smart enough to process that. That's how it's supposed to work. Now, for the very first time, we have an opening and an engagement into the UN system. For the very first time, we have a series of diplomats capable of knocking doors and putting our issue on the table. And yes, because of the nature of the relationship between nation states, there are certain contents that cannot be palatable to certain international conversations. Does anybody need to put that to you blatantly? It should go without saying that there are some things, certain content that you cannot put on paper and approach any nation member state against another member state. It is out of an understanding of that reality that a suboptimal solution is being proposed so that we will have a foot in the door, a seat at the table, an opportunity to put the matters on the table. That is diplomacy 101, Dr. Fontaine. That's the diplomacy 101. I mean, sorry, I keep referring to you because I want to assume that of all the lot, with all the other lawyers and all the other people that attribute themselves certain capabilities, I want to assume that you are the one strategic thinker in that bunch. So you should be able to process these things and advise the rest of your comrades accordingly. So if we get a solution, albeit imperfect as it be, where Catholic Church, represented by the institutions on the ground, where the faith community inside Cameroon, where a significant stakeholder representing a constituted body speaking on behalf of our people, when I try to get small sense, just small sense for realize say Catholic Church, Presbyterian Church, Muslim community, na official non-state actors them inside the Southern Cameroon context. Now people already get a congregation that have their ear. They are natural representatives, not democratic representatives, but natural representatives of our people. They are stakeholders. And if they endorse them, they say this thing makes sense. Let's have a look at it. And then they be prepared for carry and go inside, go meet up their principals them for Vatican, the apostolic nuncio. In the world of diplomacy, the Vatican is a significant player. The Vatican is as big a voice on almost any issue that you can get behind any crisis. And let us stop fooling ourselves. In proportion terms, our crisis is irrelevant compared to the number of hotspots around the world. In proportion terms, in terms of casualty, in terms of stakes, in terms of economic consequences, in terms of potential benefits, in terms of what people can actually want to fight and die for, our crisis is not even there on top, the top 100 of the crisis in the world. To get an access to the Vatican, where the Vatican says we can have a look at this, it's something to be embraced. If in any of this where they talk, we want to get an alternative, by all means, come forward with it. Put it on the table for our people to appreciate. If not, join this process. Empty chair diplomacy never ever work anywhere. Come there, make a distinction between the issues, identify your perspectives, put your view on the table. Your view is registered. You participated. You were in the room. It makes a world of a difference. You do not abandon the boardroom to go and sit in a studio on a YouTube live channel, and then you are trying to influence processes. Diplomacy does not work in the highway of social media. That's not where it works, Comrade Chris Anu. And if you want to be a stakeholder that anybody is supposed to take seriously, you need to get to a point where you either drop your microphone and take your briefcase and be taken as a serious stakeholder in the boardroom, or you stay as a social media, influencer. You need to choose. It's either you are able to filter what it is that you take to the public domain so that people can trust you with information, or you stay as a social media influencer and let people who are going to make decisions and come and inform you for you to inform the people. You need to pick and choose. You cannot be both. Because the responsibility in the one demands a different set of skills and capabilities separate from the other. So you need to choose to flow in the corridors of diplomacy. So this plan, where PRAP they put them on the table, it gets as intention for put together a content around which a different combination of diplomatic stakeholders they fit gather for start the conversation. The best place where any person will get the interest of Southern Cameroon is that you had Phoebe. Now, part of that conversation around the table. Even when you have dissenting views, even when you have contrarian views, even when you have views about perspectives that you think it's supposed to be done one way or the other, the best place for those views is around the table, inside that boardroom. It's not on social media, because the views on social media are completely inconsequential and irrelevant. Meet with the people who matter and put your issue on the table. That is how you prove that you have the interests of the people at heart. That is how you prove that you have the interests of this crisis at heart. So my appeal again, now to people, these people, they don't pull out of this process. I make one simple argument. An imperfect process is better than a no process. We have gathered the attention of the international community. We are knocking the doors in the UN systems. We're knocking the doors of member states. We're knocking the doors of key players. We're knocking on the doors of people that can actually help this process to move forward. And we are doing this with the humility that says we understand that we cannot do this all by ourselves. Us stretching our hand to the rest of our community is out of recognition of the critical role, the extra set of eyes, the extra set of ears that we believe that you guys all constitute. It is a recognition of your significance that you were consulted in the first place. Now, to stay out of the process and do not take anything of what I'm saying to suggest to you that we are of the view that if you don't show up, the process is going to stall. The process is like a train that has left the station. We are very committed. We are very dedicated to this. We will drive it to its logical end. But it will be very unfortunate that the people who had an opportunity to make an input to steer the process would choose to stay out as spectators to criticize and run down the process. It's a very unfortunate position to assume. And I know that history is going to judge, and is going to judge extremely severely those who take up those positions. The train has left the station. We are appealing for everyone who has been reached out to jump on board, because your input in driving this train is better made from within the train, not from outside the train. If you stay out as spectators, I hope you will not one day regret for the empty seat that you failed to occupy. Let us be progressive. Let us be progressive in our approach to finding solutions. If a process is imperfect, it is perfectible. But you can only bring about the perfection of an imperfect process by joining the process and seeking for perfection. May God bless all we as we march on.